Hello and welcome back to Star Technology. In today's episode, we will show off some different passive processes I have set up between episodes. I had a lot of opportunities to play, but not as many opportunities to record, voice record, or record in general. So I did quite a bit between episodes, a little too much. For my taste, but I will show you what I've done and then we'll take it from there on. Okay, so the first thing I did is make a bunch of other machines here. I made the fluid solidifier. I don't really remember what I did this for. I think I did latex. So we did the latex here. And solidified it into the rubber and then mixed it up. Then later on we got a centrifuge here where we centrifuged the sticky resin we had. This recipe here, this got us rubber pulp, some glue and plant balls. The rubber pulp we mixed with some sulfur and got a lot of liquid rubber here. We have quite a few barrels and also some in here. Then we made a setup for making treated wood planks. These treated wood planks, we had a macerator here, and then we compressed the treated wood pulp down into planks. This we did so we could make these treated wood reinforced casings. Those needed the planks and also a lot of brass. We made like, I think it was 150 of these. Let's see here. Yeah, 150, and for that we needed 300 screws, so that was a lot of brass. The assembler I think we made last episode, I used them to make copper nickel coils, which is just some copper nickel wire and some bronze foil and some tin alloy melted down. Copper nickel you get from smelting copper with nickel in the alloy furnace. Then we also made the extractor to melt down liquid red alloy and also tin iron alloy in order to get these coils here. The liquid red alloy, this here, red alloy, we used to make a cheaper recipe for vacuum tubes in the assembler, way cheaper even. The glue from the centrifuge over here, we have quite a bit of that. We used to get cheaper recipes for the resistors here. We did, I think, this one, but with charcoal. Get 2 from 4 fine copper wire. Way easier. Then we made a lot of, let's see here, circuit boards with the glue. This here. That just needs a wood plank and 4 copper foil, which is much cheaper in terms of copper and also wood. And we did the same thing with just normal wood to make the planks. Then we made a lot of these mechanical sieves. These here, we made 4 of these, and they all needed reinforced meshes, some treated wood frames, and these reinforced casings. And they also needs the energy hatches we made. That's what we used those for. And we got this set up here. We use ender drawers, which are made with obsidian and a LV circuit to get the dust and the gravel and the sand up here. We have been sieving for quite a while, so we have a lot of resources here. And then we use ender drawers in order to transport the resources to processing. At the moment we have iron, copper and tin processing up. And then over here we have the sand sieving. We have 74,000 diamonds, which we will be using later. Seems like we have no sand for some reason. And that's probably because we are sieving all of the dust. and this setup just doesn't process enough cobblestone in order to fill up the sand as well. We will be working on that later in this episode. Yeah, then what I didn't show you is this setup here I made. This processes copper, crushed copper into nickel, gold, and copper dust. I think something filled up here, and that is probably this drawer down here. If we get a void upgrade for that, void upgrade, void, this here, then this should kick back on. See? Yeah. And that produces a lot of nickel and a lot of gold automatically. This over here is a smelting setup. We are smelting tin, iron, copper, and gold. Later on we will process the tin and the iron as well in ore processing plants like this. These are the same as the one we made down here. This one here. It just has better rates and run on electricity, so we don't need all of the charcoal we needed before. The next thing we are setting up is automated steel. For that we need oxygen. We need flint dust, where we have a lot of flint down here from this setup, which we will use first, and then we'll set up flint processing later when all that runs out. And then we'll set up our electric blast furnace for producing steel automatically. The first thing we'll do in this episode is work on getting this graphite dust for the arc furnace. This we need to make wrought iron quickly. This is quite a rabbit hole. You get this from, let's see here, thermal centrifuging crushed diamond ore. That gives a 33% chance. Crushed diamond ore you get from, let's see here, these diamond geodes, which you get from rock filtration, which is a multi-block we haven't made yet. That gives us chance of diamond geodes, which you can macerate down into these different components. Probably only crushed diamond ore, but then later on when you get a high voltage macerator, you can also get bonus products, but that's only at high voltage and above. So we need the rock filtrator here. That requires a lot of motors, circuits, and some steel. Nothing we haven't seen yet. And then it also needs some solid machine casings, which is the steel. Tempered glass we can make. We already have copper nickel coils and some firebox casings, which we also made, let's see, over here for this one here. I did this off camera, but it's just a bunch more steel here. I made a second level, or like a cellar for this, and I did some work beneath. For the ore factory here, you need water going into it, so I just set up an aqueous accumulator, and I waterlogged some leaves for it to work. We have a 8 amp converter because I want more of these ore factories here, but we don't quite have the steel for it. And this over here I think will be the steel setup. And down here we have the ingots that we made automatically. So we have 16k of all these and 2k of gold. I also set up I think 9 more diesel engines. No, 8 more diesel engines, so we have more stress capacity. I didn't use it yet because yeah, this would spin too fast and I'm a little scared I'll make it go too fast so it will lag the game or like crash it. But for now 3000 dive is good enough, and then we will expand the magnets instead at some point if we need more energy. We might be able to transfer to lapidary dynamos before we need more energy from create. First thing we will make is the controller for the rock filtrator. This just needs some engines, which we can make. I do think we need a bit more plates, so we'll just throw 64 in here in the bender. That should work. We have the steel plate, so it's probably the hammer we're missing actually. Let's see. Yeah, it was. But making more plates doesn't hurt anyways. So we have the controller. We need some firebox casings. I think we need 7, but let's just make 8 because that's what the recipes require. Okay, that is easy. Let's see. We probably will set it up next to the ore factory, so we have an energy converter that we need. We needed some tempered glass, which is glass soaked in lava. I'm pretty sure in a fluid solidifier. Let's see here. It might be in a barrel as well. Barrel can do it. I think it has to be in a barrel. We will grab this drum here. Go down. I have a setup where we can yoink some lava. See? From the calcite setup. And we have a stone barrel down here, which we can also yoink. Let's just delete the fluids. And don't put rich water into it. See, let's just throw it down there. We need lava, glass, and that very slowly makes tempered glass, but then that process is going on. We needed some solid machine casings, like 16 of those. And yeah, you get the gist. I'll craft these up and then we'll set up the filtration controller. Okay, so I do think we have all we need for the rock filtrator. It needs a copper nickel in the middle here. And solid machine, no, not like that. Let's see. Need firebox casings like this. The filtrator goes there. Then we need solid machine casings up like this. The reason why we don't have enough is because we have hedges that needs to go here as well. Oh. Let's see. I think we'll put the energy hatch over here. That's close to the energy converter. Like so. It only accepts one. Then we will put the input bus here. Pretty sure we need 2 output buses, because otherwise there's not enough space. And then we also need an input hatch. Let's say we put that. Let's say we put the input bus up there, I think. Let's see. Not like there. Right. Here. Glass, glass. And input hatch here. And let's see, something isn't right. Because we need firebox casings up here. Okay, and it seems like this formed after we put the firebox casings in the right place. We will need our wrench in order to turn this energy hatch. We need distilled water for this recipe. We can do either sand, which is MV, or we can do gravel at LV, and it needs distilled water, which is quite easily made in a distillery. We just need to make this machine here. Okay, so I made a distillery. We'll throw that down next to the input hatch. And it obviously needs energy, so we will take I do think we made some more soul infused wire down here. Okay, we made a bunch. Because it's an 8 amp energy converter, we need to make 2 times soul infused wire. As you can see, that can handle 8 amps. The 1 times can only handle 4 amps. If you shift this travel staff was made with 2 iron rods and an ender pearl, very cheap. If you shift right click, it goes through a layer. If you shift click on a travel, or just right click on a travel anchor, it goes to the travel anchor. Very, very useful. So let's power this distillery. We need a wire cutter. Like so. Let's make this a bit prettier. Okay. This should get power. Then we need to use a aqueous accumulator. Let's just place that here. Leave water and water. This should be getting water now. I'm not sure this accepts it by itself, so let's get some fluid pipes. Like so. So in the water, I do think it needs a circuit of 1. This makes distilled water, which should go directly into the input hatch. We do something like this. It does. I think the last thing we need for this is let's see, rock filtration. It's just gravel for it to work. Yeah, I do think we just need gravel and obviously some outputs. For this, I'm just grabbing an ender drawer. And then we need to link it. Let's see. We go down to the starter here. We left click on this. And then we shift right click on the one up there. This gets gravel. And it's not working for some reason. I don't think we powered it yet. So let's just get it some power. And it should start working. Which it did. And this will give us the diamond we need very slowly. It will also give us Certus quartz and various other geodes, gems and stuff. We set up a draw wall here for storage of these. We got a green sapphire and a sapphire geode so far. This is a very slow process, so it's good we set this up now. Yeah, we will need to wait a bit and then we will get some diamond geodes which we can process. And yeah, we will need that for progressing with the passive steel here. In the meantime, we can set up the electric blast furnace. We need the controller itself, some Invar casings, our cupronickel coils, and a muffler hatch. And of course the energy hatches. I made 2 and I used one for the rock filtration, so we need another one. Energy hatch. But we made a lot of low voltage coils, so this should be no problem. We just need to make this here. LV machine hull. Are we out of plates? I think we might be out of steel plates. and rod plates, but that is a quick fix. But yeah, as I said, I already set up a macerator, a centrifuge, and an electrolyzer. The centrifuge, we centrifuge, let's see here, there should be a recipe, flint dust into silicon diode dust. The flint dust we get from macerating flint. This we can electrolyze for 1 silicon, 3 of those for 1 silicon and 2 oxygen. This is probably one of the best ways of getting oxygen until mid-game, early mid-game, where you can, I think, electrolyze methane, or that might be for hydrogen, it doesn't matter. This is an easy way to get oxygen. We want the arc furnace here for making the wrought iron. And yeah, we will be using, let's see here, steel ingot. I'll show you what recipe we will be using. We will be using wrought iron and oxygen to make steel ingots and ashes. This takes 15 seconds instead of the, was it 40 in the primitive blast furnace? And also it doesn't use charcoal, so we don't have to produce that anymore. I was manually cooking it up and cutting down the trees, and yeah, I got very tired of that, so we won't need to do that anymore. So let me set up the blast furnace and we will continue. So let me show you how I set up the electric blast furnace. I forgot that I wanted, this is fine though, I wanted it one more over to the left here, but this should work out. We'll just use the pipe. This needs maintenance, but we have bought duct tape, so we'll just throw that on. We have our input bus here next to where our arc furnace will go, which will make wrought iron with oxygen. Let's see here, wrought iron in an arc furnace that takes 2.8 seconds to make 1 wrought iron and a little bit of oxygen gas. This is by far the best way to get wrought iron that I know of. And yeah, this goes into our input bus, and in our input hatch we have filled it up with oxygen from here as well. Then over here we have our output bus, and I just threw on an output hatch, but I'm pretty sure we don't need the hatch right there. Let's see. Up here we just have our muffler and invar casings and our maintenance hatch, and of course the coils here. All we need now is the arc furnace, and let's see how far our rock filtrator is. We have a bit of diamond geodes here. Let's throw the stuff that we haven't placed on the wall on here, so this should just passively build up. Let's throw some upgrades on, because this will just keep working forever, and the more the better. The diamond geodes here, I do think we need to throw in a macerator. Let's do that. And we have a run in a 3 chance. Let's see, crushed diamond. Pretty sure we have a 1 in 3 chance to ore wash it, and needs to be distilled water into purified diamond ore and get a graphite dust. So we do need an ore washer. So let's just get the LV one. I'll build this and then I'll be right back. The ore washer I'll just throw next to the distillery here and borrow some distilled water. We need to give it power here, but that should be very easy. Then we need to grab our crushed diamond and wash it. This will take a bit of time, it looks like. Okay, so 4 of them did not yield graphite dust, so we will have to wait a bit more. Maybe this one is the lucky one. I'm not sure if you can get some later on in the process. It looks like if we thermal centrifuge them, there is also a chance. And we got it from the next one here, so we are good. With this graphite here, we are able to craft up our arc furnace. This we will throw in our setup here. Let's not throw there, let's throw it right here. And auto output into the bus. If we then get a couple more ender drawers and throw flint on there and iron on there, we should be getting passive steel. So let's see if that will work. Okay, so I made an ender drawer for flint. Let's log it up and throw it up on our grinding setup here. This will passively give us flint, and once we run out, we will macerate gravel. Looks like it can't keep up with gravel either, so we really do need to upgrade our cobblestone gen up there. But yeah, we will also be using this flint we got here. But this also makes it so that we will be getting it even after we are finished with this drawer here. So we link our flint to this drawer, and with our wrench, we extract from these two here. So we will, if this empties, we will just be using from our stash here that has been going for a while. This will auto output into the centrifuge, and we should be getting oxygen quite quickly here. Let's make a buffer drum. If we have a drum on hand, we do, so that we can always grab some oxygen if needed. The last thing we need to do is to grab our iron down here. Let's see, this iron here will instead be a ender drawer. Like so. We log it. And we link it. Let's see. To this. And then we extract. And we also here use our buffer drawer. And this makes us wrought iron, which we auto input into here. And this makes us steel. So now we have passive steel, and we will still be using a lot of steel when we get into the MVH. And I also want to make more ore factories, which like requires 600 steel each, which is just a lot. And we might move the rock filtrator here to a better spot once we want to wall share these ore factories. And yeah, we have our first passive steel here. I think we'll upgrade the drawers. Okay, that is definitely not what I meant to do. Let's do something about that. But yeah, one of them is for ashes, the other one is for just the steel. But ashes are a chance material, so we haven't gotten it quite yet. But that will fill it up if we don't extract that too. So we will need to, let's see here, link this. We'll need to store that as well so we don't fill up on that and therefore stop producing steel. See? Yeah, we got some ashes. Throw that in there. But yeah, that's passive steel. And I do think this have to be the end of the episode. In between episodes we got a lot done. I'm sorry I didn't record all of it, but that's just how it had to be. This episode we got all these mechanical sieves up and running. We got a smelting setup up and running for tin, iron, copper and gold. We got this ore factory up and running, and passive nickel and gold, and obviously the copper dust. And we made this rock filtration unit, which gets us geodes of various kinds. This is also how we get Certus quartz for applied energistics later on. We made an oxygen setup, which makes us wrought iron. This will fill up eventually, and we will have a wrought iron supply as well. And we passive steel. Next episode, we will probably look at passiving aluminum and get into the MVH. This we need a single MV machine in order to passive, but once we got that, the electrolyzer here, we should be flying. And we will be electrolyzing clay dust this year. This recipe here we will be doing at some point to get aluminum, lithium, sodium and silicon. But that will have to wait for the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one, even though I had a lot done off camera. We did quite a bit on camera as well, so I hope you enjoyed that part. And I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.